Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Joe Killinger. On today's episode, we're going to talk with Seth Ferguson, who's a big-time multifamily investor. We're going to talk about how to create value in multifamily in a down market. Now, Seth is transitioning from syndications to a funds. He's going to give us a lot of tips and tricks how to do that as well. So now Seth is also somebody that puts on multifamily conferences around the country. So I'm going to give you the link to his next conference down below, so you're going to want to check that out. And if you haven't done so, make sure you give us a like on our videos, please. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name is Joe Killinger, and I've been a real estate entrepreneur for over 20 years. And I use this platform to bring people in like Seth that can really give us some tips and tricks on how to be successful in our industry. So again, make sure you check out all of our videos on my channel. And if you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe. Well, Seth, thank you for coming on the show today. I think you bring so much value to our subscribers. And I really think going into a slowing economy, we want to really know how can we still add value. And I'd love to have you talk about it. At the end of this, I want to have you talk about your project you got going down in San Diego. So, but let's jump in. Slowing economy, how do I still bring value? What do I need to be doing right?
Yeah, well, I think it all comes down to control, right? So the one way I approach real estate investing is like you've got two different types of investors. You've got your retail investors and you've got the professional investors. And when it comes to investing in a down market, of retail investors, they're just banking on future appreciation in the market, right? Like they're investing, they're looking for the market to give them the push. A professional investor, on the other hand, they're looking to control as much as possible in the deal. So that they're looking to control, like how quickly can I push rents if we're pushing rents, if it's a down market? How can I control, the pace at which I implement my value add process? How do I control, my unit turn cost? I think now more than ever, we really have to focus in, okay, well, what's under my control and what's not in my control? Because we don't control interest rates. We don't control general market sentiment. So let's focus on what we can do really well. And we can use those to really push our investment. So everything comes down to underwriting, as you know. So, when you're underwriting deals right now, you can't control interest rates. So you want to make sure you're giving yourself lots of buffer there. You can't control market sentiment whenever you decide to exit. So you want to give yourself some buffer. But, in terms of pace of renovation, how quickly you're turning, you want to go into a deal trying to control as much of the variables as you can.
Yeah. Now, how are you dealing with the cost with inflation? Are you buying in bulk now on your turns? How are you doing that? Because the cost of everything is going up. You can't. It's a tough situation. Are you guys focused on buying more of your stuff in bulk?
Yeah. Well, right now I'm working on an infill play in Tucson. In terms of other projects on the go, we're actually working on launching our first fund. So we're working to get that up, and we'll probably be up and running January, February. And then we're basically back to balls to the wall acquisition mode. So in terms of bulk, am I at the level where I can buy like 500 units at a time? I'm not there yet. That's not within our wheelhouse. So we're still going like, your typical, 90 to 150 unit type of mix there.
Yeah. Well, what I mean is on your for your turns, are you buying like all your plywood, toilets, faucets? Are you buying all that in bulk and storing it, or how are you doing that? Because I think with the cost of everything, the way it's gone up, that can really dig into your numbers.
Oh, but 100%. And like one of the things with this deal in Tucson, the infill play, is one of the things we did was we actually separated ourselves from the actual construction component. So we basically picked up the contract on this deal, and the builder himself is stuck with controlling the cost of goods and all of that stuff. So we really insulated ourselves, and we felt with the environment at the time where costs were out of control, that was a good way to do it. But yeah, 100%. Like whenever we're back up and running, probably February with the fund once it's ready to rock. Like that's one thing you have to look at. Like, if we're planning on turning 50 units, how can we get our price down by making those bulk purchases?
Yeah, yeah, you always got to be looking for the angle, right? You
Yeah.
know, keep in mind now, we'll have to touch base in January. We've got a 70-some unit coming on the market down South Bay area,
Oh,
and it might be
beautiful.
ideal for what you guys are looking
Yeah.
at. So let's stay in
Yeah.
touch on that. One of our agents is getting it listed.
Nice.
Um, you know, it's how are you sourcing deals right now? It seems to me that landlords, they still want this price. Buyers are coming in, want this price. Filling that void has been very hard for our agents. What are you guys doing? Are you finding you're just writing a lot of offers right now?
Yeah, the joke is, the buyers, can pick up a changing market first, then the seller figures it out, and then the agent's the last person to figure things out. You know,
I don't disagree.
so yeah, no, 100%. And like you said, right now, like there's still a lot of sellers on the market trying to look at trying to get old pricing, which does make things challenging. And from a broker's perspective, one of the things you guys do is have a very realistic conversation with the vendor and say, listen, like that's 6 months ago. We're dealing with what we're dealing with right now. Like right now, especially with debt, the way the debt market's going, we're underwriting a lot of deals and we're not really pulling the trigger on very many. We want to be very selective and make sure we're getting ourselves into a really good deal. So we have our criteria and we stick by them. And right now, like there's not a ton of deals that are working out based on the wiggle room we're looking for in the market. So hopefully in the next couple months, like we start seeing a little bit more leeway in terms of pricing and things like that. So I think 2023 is going to be a really good year. But we'll see what happens. I don't have my crystal ball working right now.
Wouldn't it be nice to have that crystal ball?
Yeah.
Now,
it's out of batteries. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, is this your first downturn you're going into that you've been investing?
Yeah, on the investing side. So I actually got my teeth into the real estate business on the brokerage side in 2008. And then if you can't tell by my accent, I'm in Canada, and we saw I call it a correction in 2017 as well. So I've been around the block, but not with the investor hat on. That was more on the brokerage hat. Which like your ears to the ground, like you kind of know what's going on. You can feel the pulse and the shift in the market. So it's interesting. Like every downturn has its own reasons why and its own feel, but there are similarities. And I talk with guys who have white hair at this point, and they've seen it 4 or 5 times. And I always enjoy these conversations because you learn a lot. And like you've probably found this too. Like each one kind of acts the same, but it always has a different twist to it, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah. Now, what are you guys forecasting for 2023? Do you think there's going to be a lot more inventory coming on the market?
I think so. And that's one of the reasons why we're actually working on getting the fund ready to rock now. I think we'll be in good buying season for 2023. So we're trying to prime ourselves. In hindsight, I probably should have started 12 months ago. But right now we're just trying to do the best thing we can and just get ready to rock and roll. So, for 2023, my personal opinion, I think it's going to be a great market to buy. I think it's going to create some opportunities as long as, you're looking at things the right way and giving yourself some wiggle room. But we'll see. Like I'm only one guy and I don't know the future.
Yeah, you kind of got to play it as it goes. Now, have you been syndicating in the past? Now you're raising a fund?
Yeah. So I did some syndication in the past, and now we're looking at following the fund structure. Just like I think it's going to end up being a better product for our investors, and it's going to give us a little bit more flexibility, especially if the market kind of is the way I think it's going to be next year in 2023. I want to have the money ready to rock rather than having to raise it after the fact.
Yeah. What kind of asset? I mean, you going Class A, Class B, all the above?
Yeah, so like I'm your typical like Class B value add investor. So we target in that 90 to 150, 200 unit range, and we're looking for that value add component, whether it's through physical renovation, operational efficiencies. So that's the wheelhouse I feel comfortable in, and that's what the fund's going to focus on as well.
Yeah. What made you guys go from wanting to syndicate to raising a fund? Just of ease of getting the deals put together? Because I know every time you got to syndicate, you got to go through the whole process, right?
Yeah.
But with the fund,
yeah.
But then you get a fund. Now you got to spend that money. That's
Exactly.
impressive.
Yeah, there's pros and cons to both approaches. Though, like, talking with guys who run very successful operations who are, let's say 10 steps ahead of me, they all say that, once they switched over to a fund, they never looked back. And I interviewed one of them on stage at the multifamily conference this year, like Joe Fairless, right? Like very solid syndicator, switched over to fund, and like he's just been on fire. So it gives you a lot more flexibility, and you're not on that like consistent, hamster wheel every you do. But like you said, you raise the money, now you have to deploy it, right? So you have to make sure that you have that deal flow where you can allocate those funds and then hit your targets.
Yeah, what made you want to just say, when real estate investing, you said, listen, I don't want to do brokerage anymore, I'm going to invest? Or are you still doing some brokerage? I didn't ask that before, I guess.
Oh no, like I still have my license, and it's going to be
Right.
something I keep forever, because why not? But yeah, on the brokerage side, I was pretty successful with it. I made what people would consider pretty good money. But it wasn't really the passion of mine. And I gravitate more towards the investing side. So and I blame that on my age as well. When I was doing brokerage, like I bring in big commission checks, and the commission was going out the door just as fast. So
life was good, huh?
Yeah, life was good at the time, but in hindsight, I didn't make smart moves. So
yeah, we all do. It's age is it can be evil at times, as I'm standing in sore knees and all that occasionally.
Yeah.
Now, how did you start with getting your funding? When you were starting off, what was your path to getting launched?
Oh boy. Yeah. So co-GP is the way I got started. And that gives you you've got a solid operator behind you, somebody who's got the track record. And then you start off, raising some money and co-GPing that way. One thing that's been working well for me, like I'm really expanding my, digital presence in terms of, just my presence in general. So that's definitely helped in building the mailing list.
Sure.
And one mistake I made like early on was I didn't build that list. Everything I was doing wasn't list building. And I think that's really set me back with it. So now everything we're doing, like we're always collecting, information whenever we can, email, phone number, what they're looking for. And now we've got a pretty sizable database, but I could have been 3 steps ahead if I was sooner. So yeah, like that's my number one piece of advice. Like,
tough process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you imagine? We tell our agents that are starting off, get that CRM, because those contacts, they will go away unless you stay in touch. Now, how'd you start financing your deals? Friends and family? Do you have bank contacts?
Yeah. So yeah, like 100%. Like friends and family is where I think almost everybody starts, right?
Get started that way.
Yeah, you've got your close circle, and those are the people that know, like, and trust you. While they might not like you, but they know you for sure if it's family.
Yeah.
So
they know that you'll do the deal.
Yeah, exactly. So you start friends and family, and now I'm attracting people from Canada and the US all over the place. So it's a little bit different now. And I'm still learning as I go. Like I'm not the expert in terms of building a list or any of this stuff. I'm still making mistakes, and we're learning from those.
You'll never stop learning in this industry.
Yeah.
Things change. You go into a different market, you have to know it, right? If you've not been in Arizona before and you're going there now, it's going to be a completely different market than Canada, so
yeah,
you'll never stop learning. And I think that's kind of the beauty of this business. It keeps you young or gray or both, I guess. You always got to be looking what's around the corner.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, how many units do you guys have right now?
Yeah, we're still small. Like
Okay.
we're still small. Like we're less than 1,000 right now.
Okay.
I'm hoping to crack that mark next year. So we're still in that, I would call it like that startup scrappy phase. We're trying to get things rocking and rolling. So hopefully, like my goal is by the end of next year, we'd like to crack that mark, and get some good volume going. But yeah, we're a scrappy startup. Like that's where we're at.
A good place to be right now. If you have the ability to raise money, I think the next couple of years there's going to be some real opportunity out there. Now, how big do you guys want to get to?
Oh, like the big hairy audacious goal. Like I'd like to hit the $1 billion mark for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no reason why with all this stuff, all the footprints that we've got and we're building, there's no reason why we can't scale to that level. I've got friends who have done it. So it is possible. So that's what we're working towards in the long term.
Okay. And now, do you guys self-manage, or do you hire property management each property?
Third party.
Third party. Okay.
Yeah, third party. Yeah, but like that's a discussion too. Like, at what point do you bring it in house? Everybody's got a different opinion.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. When we were starting off, we had it in house, and the reason being is we started buying in other states. So we were in Dallas. We were buying properties, and almost every property we bought in Texas was an out-of-state owner that was hiring third property management in the state within that area. 100% of them were getting taken. I mean, one of them, we had a 73 unit. They were giving a salary of almost double what the manager was supposed to be getting and keeping half of it. And the manager, she couldn't believe it. She asked to go, "Are you guys going to keep me on?" Like, "We can't afford to keep you on. You're double what the market is." She goes, "How's that right?" And she showed me her check. I said, "Oh, well, they're keeping the other half." And so she goes, "Well, this is what I'm willing to work for." I was, "Okay, well, we can keep you on then." And then they had a free unit going out to a maintenance man that wasn't even working on the property. So as an investor, you have you've got to do your due diligence, and you have to be responsible for those investors. And you've got to know your market, and you got to know what to look for in each market. Otherwise, third party can be kind of tough.
Yeah, no, 100%. And we follow, I've got 7 key market drivers I look at. Like those are the 7 we hammer on. Everybody's got their own system for it, but 100%.
Yeah. Well, tell us all about your conference you got coming up. You got Grant Cardone speaking. Who else you got?
Yeah, so Grant Cardone's coming. Alex Rodriguez. Lots of people know how big into multifamily he is. Like he's got over 1,000 units. Huge.
He's not a bad baseball player either.
No, he might be okay. But yeah, and then we've got Janet LePage. Like they're at over 3 billion now with what they're doing with Western Wealth. We've got some really great speakers in terms of the lineup, and that's May 26th to 28th in 2023. So super excited for the multifamily conference.
Yeah, and that's in San Diego?
No, so the multifamily conference is in Toronto.
Toronto.
San Diego is something else. San Diego's a mastermind I run for real estate thought leaders. So basically, the top thought leaders from around North America, and we get together and have some fun. So that's a separate thing. I've got my fingers in a couple different
busy guy.
But both are really fun. Like Grant, we've got him running a special session for the VIPs at the conference. Like I rented out the CN Tower in Toronto, the tower everybody sees. Yeah. We'll have a whole lot of fun.
Oh, that'll be good. Well, I'm going to put a link to that down below. Okay. So we'll have to make sure we get it from you. And then we're going to put your contact information so everybody can reach out to you if they have any questions on how you're doing with your fund and all that. But Seth, thank you very much for coming on today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. Like you're doing an awesome job with all your content. So I really do appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And for those of you watching, make sure you give us a like. And if you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you again soon.